In a little town called Stratford-upon-Avon, the year 1564, likely on the 23rd day of April, a lad named William was born. Fast forward 52 years to the day, that same lad, well, a bit older, mind you, breathed his last. Quite the peculiar coincidence to die on one's birthday, wouldn't you agree? You might be wondering about my earliest years. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but there's a bit of a mystery there. The records from that time are as elusive as a summer's day in England. And I can tell you this, though, I was the third child of 8, born to John Shakespeare and Mary Arden, a fairly ordinary family with an extraordinary son, if I do say so myself. At the age of 18, I married Anne Hathaway, no, not the actress. We had 3 children, first Susanna and then the twins, Judith and Hamnet. Life with twins was quite the experience and propelled me into what is known as my lost years. Ah, the lost years, a period spanning 7 years where not a soul knows what I was up to. Quite thrilling, isn't it? Some say I was a schoolmaster, while others believe I was a butcher's apprentice. A few even suggest I was a law student. The theories are as varied as the characters in my plays. I prefer to preserve the mystery. Then it was off to London I went, leaving the mysteries of my lost years behind. Here I co-founded a little place you might have heard of, the Globe Theatre, a wooden O, a world unto itself where stories came to life, and what stories they were. From the tragic love of Romeo and Juliet to the regal struggles in Macbeth, each tale was spun with the finest threads of human emotion. And then came the end of the Elizabethan era. But for me, well, the show was far from over. Now let's turn our quills to a new chapter. Robert Greene, a prolific playwright who was none too pleased with my rising star, he penned a pamphlet, The Groatsworth of Wit, in which he famously labelled me an upstart crow, a mere player, calling me a mimic. Ah, the sting of envy, yet his words could not dim the light of my success. In the bustling heart of London, a group of actors came together to form the Lord Chamberlain's Men. This merry band was named after their patron, the Lord Chamberlain himself. In 1594, I became the principal playwright for this group. With my words and their talent, we breathed life into characters that would outlive us all. Despite the criticisms, the Lord Chamberlain's Men and I made quite the team. From the Globe Theatre's wooden O, we spun tales of love, power, and human folly that echoed through the ages. So remember, dear listener, where there is genius, there will always be critics. But in the end, 'twas not Greene who had the last laugh. After all, I've never heard of a course named after him. In the twilight of my years, I traded the grandeur of the stage for the tranquillity of retirement. Life in Stratford-upon-Avon was a far cry from the bustling streets of London, but the quill never truly left my hand. When the time came for me to shuffle off this mortal coil, I left behind thousands of verses written in iambic pentameter, but who could have guessed the fame that awaited me? Imagine my works performed centuries later, my words echoing in halls I'd never seen. Shakespeare, the great bard, they'd say, the greatest playwright to have ever lived. I could only chuckle at such grandiose predictions, and yet I've become the most famous playwright in history, with my works translated into every major language in the world and my plays performed more than any other playwright. As I said in Twelfth Night, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. I leave it to you to determine which most aptly characterizes my legacy.